Simba, do you want to come say hi? Come on. Good boy. Oh, good boy. Oh, yes. I'm not sure if they can see you still. But thanks for coming closer. So I've seen this trend on YouTube where people are talking about the questions that they've been avoiding. And I've done several Q&As in the past, and there's definitely questions that I've avoided. And I thought it might be interesting and fun for us if I just laid it all on the table. So we're gonna get to know me real well today. And I'm kind of nervous about it, but I'm sure it'll be fun. And Mom, if you're watching this, this is when you stop watching. Because we're about to get into it. One of the questions I've gotten the most is, why did you and Hayden break up? There's more than one reason, but I don't think he would appreciate it if I went over all the reasons why the breakup was necessary on here. So I will tell you guys this though, like one of the big factors was just the fact that we had different things that we wanted out of life. And when you have big overarching goals of life and what's going to make you happy and what you want to achieve, if those things don't align, it can cause a lot of stress and can be bad for a relationship in many ways. I think it's definitely okay to be different than your significant other. In fact, I think that's a good thing in many ways. But if you have different ideas of what you want out of life, that can cause issues. Next question. Okay, are you looking to date again? I have been on some dates. I'm not looking to jump into anything, but if I find the right person and it's the right time, then definitely I'm open to dating. I do want a long-term relationship, but I think single life can be a lot of fun. It's easier for me to make a lot of friends when I'm single, just because you're meeting a lot more people. I love getting to know new people and hearing their stories, and that part of single life is really fun for me. Any drug or alcohol use? All right, so I, for the first time ever, have taken 2 edibles. It was actually when I was on my trip in Hawaii, and it was my first time ever doing an edible. It was a very, very, very small amount. My friends know me for being very anti-drugs, but yeah, I tried 2 edibles when I was there, and it was fine. Drugs just aren't really my thing, and I just don't really have a desire to use them. And as far as alcohol goes, so this is something that I've never shared on YouTube before. After my mom was diagnosed with cancer, they tested her for something called the BRCA1 gene. It's a gene that increases your risks of developing certain kinds of cancer. And one of them is pancreatic cancer, which is what my mom had. She tested positive. So because she tested positive, all of us kids were able to test for free. And we found out that some of us did have the gene, and I was one of the ones that did. And one of the ways that you can prevent this gene from activating in your body and increasing your risk of cancer is not drinking alcohol. So I avoid alcohol, and I'm already kind of a health freak. So even before that, I didn't drink very much. All right, so this is the question that I get all the time that I've never answered, and I'm just gonna get it out of the way. It's the question, are you a top or a bottom? And guys, my family watches my channel. I can't talk about these things, but I think it's interesting that people ask this question as if everyone is either a top or a bottom. Have you ever struggled with anxiety and depression? I have a lot of people close to me that struggle with depression and anxiety, and I've never been suicidal. Situational depression is a real thing. And I think I may have had that in the past. Once you're in a new life situation, I'm out of it. I do feel like that's something that's so important to talk about and to be honest about. I feel like mental health isn't discussed enough because it's something that seriously affects more people than we know, because it's kind of a taboo topic. Not everyone's comfortable sharing their mental illnesses with people, but I think it can be, when it's shared right, empowering and helpful. Were you disappointed with your family when they didn't support you when you came out? Have you forgiven them completely? I wouldn't say that my family didn't support me. They were very obvious about the fact that they still loved me. And I feel like that's what matters the most. Even though like maybe my family didn't react perfectly, I shouldn't expect them to. It's big, shocking, life-changing news for them just as it is for me to come to terms with myself. I think that they reacted better than I was expecting. And I'll always be grateful for that because I've heard so many people that had it so much more difficult than what I experienced. Are you staying in Austin? Correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like you wouldn't have gone there if it wasn't for Hayden. You're right. I would not have moved to Austin if Hayden hadn't been wanting to be here. Something else that a lot of people don't know is we broke up before even moving to Austin because I didn't want to move here. All my friends and my family and my consistent work was in Utah, and it broke my heart thinking about leaving everything. So after we broke up, Hayden told me that he would stay in Salt Lake to be with me there. So we got back together, and he stopped applying for jobs in Austin, 2 jobs in Austin, but one of the jobs that he had previously applied to reached out to him and offered him a position. And it was an offer that he couldn't refuse, honestly. And I wasn't going to tell him that he couldn't. This was clearly a good opportunity. And so he accepted the job, but since he had already told me that he was like willing to stay in Salt Lake City for me, I was like, I should meet him halfway in the relationship. And so I moved to Austin. Even though the relationship didn't work out, I don't regret it. I feel like I've met so many amazing people. I've learned so much about photography and videography and about myself, and it's just been an awesome opportunity. And the reason I'm still here is because I've made a lot of friends here, I've built clientele here, and I think Austin's a great city. I don't know if I'll be here indefinitely, but we'll just see what time brings. Do you go to church or are you religious as of now? There's no church that I go to consistently now. I don't know if I'd consider myself religious or not. I'll tell you what I do. I pray pretty regularly. Every once in a while, I'll read the Bible. But there's no church that I go to consistently as of now. Do some people, family or strangers, tend to act weird / different around you? I'm assuming you mean after coming out. Things are pretty similar. I feel like most people act the same. If anything, I feel like some people are trying to not hurt my feelings in any way, so they're kind of careful in what they say. I would say that's the only difference though, which I think is really, really kind of them. But it makes me feel kind of bad because I just want them to feel like they can be themselves around me. But I've only gotten a little bit of that, and it's not from many people. So yeah, not really. For the most part, it's been really good. And I feel so much better myself after coming out. 10 out of 10 would recommend when you're ready. What are some red flags to look for when dating? In order for a healthy relationship, there has to be honesty on both sides. And I even think it's a red flag if somebody's lying about little things. I think honesty is just a big deal. Also, something else that I think is important is somebody who knows what they want. If you're with somebody or you're dating somebody that's kind of wishy-washy on how they feel towards you or how they feel about life, I would take that as a huge red flag. You want somebody who knows what they want, and you want somebody that is willing to meet you halfway, and I feel like everyone deserves that. I would also pay attention to how somebody treats their family and friends. I think that can be a really good indicator, even if they're treating you really well. If they treat friends or family bad, I think that's a huge red flag, and it could show you what your potential future is like with them after the infatuation kind of becomes lessened. Another red flag for me is if somebody, so I'm big on somebody acting exactly as they are, regardless of how feminine or masculine they are. I think it's important for everybody to just be themselves. But I'm totally fine dating people who are very straight acting, but at the same time, it's a red flag for me if somebody takes pride in the fact that they're straight acting. it can show a little bit of internalized homophobia. It's really hard to be in an LGBTQ relationship if somebody has some internalized homophobia. It can really affect the relationship and how you feel about yourself and the other person. Gotta find somebody who is happy being themselves and proud of who they are and proud of the relationship that they're in with you. Okay, would you ever go back to church if you had a good husband and kids? I would want my kids to be raised religious. I wouldn't make them subscribe to any one religion. I would probably raise them in like a non-denominational Christian church. I think that it's important for them to like explore that themselves. But I think that my relationship with God has helped me in the past, and I want that for future kids if I have kids. What's your type? Personality-wise, somebody who has integrity, somebody who's ambitious, somebody that is open to trying new things, somebody who's excited about the future. I think that's really fun. All right, well, I hope you guys feel like you know me better after that. I'm like already nervous to post this, but I hope you guys had fun, and I'm sure I'll see you soon. Thanks so much for watching, guys.